Maybe she was born with it, but maybe it's Angelyne. I'm mugging for the camera right now. We're going to release a little video of how an LA Meekly episode is made. There's a lot of mugging.
I've stabbed a lot of people. Okay, do that again. I'll give you a reaction.
No, I'm going to leave that in.
Wow.
You want to give me a reaction?
Wow. We can also cut that out. I'm so excited to hear about Angelyne because I didn't read the article when it came out, the big one about her, because I knew we were going to do an episode. I didn't want to ruin it.
I know. That's a big part of this, of our lives now, is like, ooh, this sounds like a juicy story, but we're going to do an episode. I don't want to do double research. So being a local celebrity, like I said, it means that you're just crazy enough for people to notice you, but not crazy enough for a lot of people to notice you. It's the sweet spot.
You're a brush fire.
Yeah, you're a brush fire on the side of the freeway. Take that, Angelyne. But of all the people we're going to talk about tonight, Angelyne might be the most well-known of all of them. And going hand in hand with that sort of eccentricity is the facts, like we were saying, they come out of the mouth of Angelyne herself, and what a mouth. So they're not always to be trusted, but this is what we know about Angelyne according to Angelyne and those who have known her or followed her for a long time. She's the test model of Paris Hilton. She's the Model T that became the Mustang that is Kim Kardashian. And that isn't to say I think Angelyne is a Model T or that Kim Kardashian is a Mustang. Just be impressed that I can name 2 types of cars.
Big car and bus.
And I do mean bus. I was thinking like Model T must have come after the Model A. So I'll say Angelyne is the Model A, but no, that's not how it works. And then I got into this whole thing about reading about Ford.
It turns out I have a car.
So she's the original Hollywood person famous for no other reason than being famous. Or as she puts it, I'm famous for the magic I possess.
Okay.
She's a wizard.
She's an old-style witch. You want to get into right now before you go any further? First time you heard or remember seeing Angelyne? I remember being a really young kid and my mom freaking out.
I don't know how I know about her, but I remember I didn't see her until maybe a few months ago.
Okay.
And I was following her, trying to we were getting off at the same exit. I was like, I could see Angelyne, and I didn't. And then another time, I've seen her like 2 times. I saw her on Hollywood Boulevard, and then I saw her. I'll tell you later on where I saw her once, but I haven't seen her. I've only seen her car.
Yeah.
But it's really exciting.
Yeah, no, for sure.
The pink whale.
Yeah. I remember being a kid and my mom we used to drive up Sunset to get to Beverly Hills when she used to work there.
That's Angelyne territory.
Yeah, it is. So
it's her game trail.
You'll probably get into where her watering hole is an entire boulevard. I'd see her billboard a lot and be like, oh, okay. And she was just like attractive on a billboard. She was attractive.
Right. I don't remember. I've seen maybe her modern billboards, which she still kind of does, but I don't remember ever seeing them as a kid.
Okay. I'm older than you. I'm a better part of town. But I remember seeing her on the way to Beverly Hills and my mom being like, look! Like a sighting.
It's really exciting.
It's exciting, yeah. I remember.
And you'll do crazy things to get up close to her.
Yeah, and that's the magic she possesses. Is it you want to crash into her?
I'm famous for the magic I possess. So that's where we are. So according to her, she was born on January 26, 1962 in Louisville, Kentucky.
She's a Louisville Slugger?
A real knockout. Home run, I mean. Is that the same sport? Do you knock people out with baseball bats? Or actually, maybe it was somewhere in Idaho that she was born. Wherever it was, she says that both her parents died when she was 5 and she became an orphan. And because of that, I sought the attention of the world through my tricks.
Is she Bob Dylan?
She's Robert Zimmerman. Who's Bob Dylan? That desperation for attention led her to create a new persona for herself in 1978 as Angelyne, or Angelyne Lynn, sometimes she would go by. At the same time, she was actually part of the LA punk scene.
Really? Yeah. Okay. I didn't know that.
Also in 1978, she released a record under the name Baby Blue and then went on to release 4 records after that. But starting in 1982, she recorded under the name Angelyne, and the song Kiss Me LA from that album was played regularly on K-Rock.
Really? Okay.
And the thing is, her music...
Rodney the Rock?
What is his name? What is his real
name?
Rodney
Bingenheimer?
The one that we saw
in
the car once.
Yeah, oh my God.
Are you Angelyne? We were on the street in front of Amoeba, you, me, and Melissa looked over and said, is that Rodney Bingenheimer? That's not what she sounds like.
Yeah,
it's just
that's what Rodney sounds like. Yeah. She was possessed by Rodney.
The power of Rodney compelled her, because his name did come up, so it must have been. But here's the thing: her music isn't that bad.
Really,
like that song in particular.
Yeah. Is it kind of like Go-Go's style punk?
So it is. I recommend the song My List. That's Go-Go's. It really isn't bad. But to get more of a taste of who Angelyne is, she says her music is inspired by aliens who communicate it to her telepathically, which won't be the last time you'll hear that from my subjects tonight. That aliens communicate with them telepathically.
Whoa. no.
But we've jumped ahead a little too far. We skipped over what Angelyne is most famous for. To promote her band's shows, they would put up a 3x4 black and white poster with Angelyne on it, and they found that the image of her was so alluring that people started reacting to it very strongly. Everyone was 63ing on the street, and a lot of people would come to their shows and venues would want to have them just based on her, on her look. Like, we want this woman.
Yeah, okay.
One thing to realize early on about this, crazy as she might sound and look, Angelyne is incredibly smart and is a pretty shrewd businesswoman. This was the most shocking thing in reading this, is Angelyne's personality. She saw how strongly people were reacting to just a small poster of her, and she felt she can build on this. From that poster, she decided to put up a 6-foot-tall bus poster for the band. Then she took it to the next level and thought, why promote my band when I could just promote myself?
Yeah.
So the year, it's not exactly clear. Some say early 80s, some say 1986, some say it was even in the late 70s, but she decided to take out her first billboard. So the billboard was just a 10-foot-tall picture of her with the name Angelyne on it and the number of her manager, Scott Henning, at the bottom. And I say just a picture of her, but we have to describe what her looks like.
Okay.
She looks like a Barbie doll, but with a huge chest.
Yes.
That's Angelyne. She's got a color of blonde hair that can only be achieved in the 80s, and there's a
kind of blonde that hurts your eyes to look at.
All the rest is her favorite color, which is pink.
Yeah.
A lot of pink.
She wasn't trying to sell music anymore. She was just trying to sell the idea of herself. Contact my agent if
we'll get into that more, but yeah, it wasn't about the band anymore. It was about Angelyne.
Okay.
Which also became the name of her band, but it wasn't about that.
Her manager also changed his name to
Angelyne. The 1-800 Angelyne. My name's Angelyne. She feels pink is the color that makes everyone happiest and can calm aggression. That's why she went with pink. She says she picked it because one day she put a 9-foot pyramid over her head and aligned it north and south, and then she picked up the Egyptian Book of the Dead and was able to read hieroglyphics, and that was when she felt the energy and saw the pink.
What?
Okay. Like I said, these people, I can't, like, they're flirting with insanity.
Yeah,
all of these people.
They all Brian Wilson it.
Right. This first billboard was paid for by an investor named Hugo Maisnick under the condition that they would split the profits generated from this billboard 50-50. I'm guessing those profits they were talking about must have meant any film roles or any endorsements or anything like that. But really all this sparked was people being curious. What was this billboard for? Who is this woman? Who is pink? She described her billboards as a Rorschach test in pink. You see it and you interpret, what is this?
Yeah.
I don't know. What this did lead to, though, was more billboards. That is for sure.
She's a billboard salesman?
Yeah. Angelyne's bill. I keep calling her pink. She's not pink. She's just likes the color pink. More billboards, this time bigger billboards, different poses. Some showed her full body. Some showed just her face. Some showed her half naked on a couch. Some showed her posing on a car. Some was just her chest. Oh, God, I'm getting all...
63.
Suddenly, I got to lie down. The billboards, they were all over LA. In her prime, she had around 200 billboards up around town. She said, you kind of get to be a billboard junkie. Another one, bigger. She briefly had some billboards up in New York, Germany, and England, but she was really only known in LA, and she crowned herself the Billboard Queen.
How proud of that.
Rami Malek is playing the Billboard Queen. The Oscars were now.
Yeah.
I was at the Oscars. Did I forget to mention?
That joke won't age well.
No, I think people will remember Bohemian Rhapsody.
In 9 years, when we're at the Oscars, and they're like...
They're going to unearth this. We can't have them as hosts.
Let's tweet it, and then it'll come back to us. But nobody ever listens to this podcast, so we're safe.
If all those people said those things on this podcast, like we'd invited them, Bryan Singer, Harvey Weinstein, Kevin Hart, come on this podcast and say your dirty things. No one will hear it. So she's the Billboard Queen. That was one front and sometimes rear of her publicity. The second was her car. That's the other thing she's known for. You, like we were talking about, you could and can still find Angelyne driving around LA on most any given day in a bright pink Corvette with the license plate Angelyne.
At the Coffee Bean on Hillhurst, you'll see her a lot.
That's where she meets people. Because we'll get into it. Okay. Like you can have encounters with her. That's where she meets them.
Oh,
so
wow.
That's why she's there all the time.
Go ahead.
So why a Corvette? Here's what she said. Barbie had one and that was the American dream. So
I can't argue with that.
Yeah, she's not wrong. Those are scientific facts. That's American history, and we all know it. So she drives around 100 miles a day munching on jelly beans, and she gets a new Corvette every 75... What?
Is she Ronald Redwood?
I was thinking, she embodies the 80s. She gets a new Corvette every 75 to 83,000 miles and puts the old ones up for sale. Right now, she's on her 9th or 10th one. She buys them at Community Chevrolet in Burbank and gets them specially painted at a place in North Hollywood.
Wow.
I dug deep on her. Each car has been a slightly different different shade of pink,
Okay.
which is my favorite Procol Harum song. One place she says she likes to go to stop to go to the bathroom in an emergency is Jerry's Deli, where I once almost crossed over 3 lanes of traffic to go see her when I saw her car parked. I would have burst. What the Angelyne? What the hell are you doing on here, Angelyne?
You gotta go to the bathroom?
As I cut her off to go to the bathroom. Will you please sign my pastrami? I saw her car parked at Jerry's Deli once. I know what she was doing at Jerry's Deli.
Pooping.
And Greg.
Pink poop.
It's a different shade every time.
Depending on the jelly bean sheets, different shade every time.
But if this is all publicity to generate publicity for herself, how is she making the money to pay for all of this? You can't just be famous and have money from that.
Yeah.
Like there needs to be something. There are rumors that she had a rich sugar daddy from Turkey, or maybe an Arab sheik was her sugar daddy. But in reality, she did get into a few movies in tiny roles. She was in Earth Girls Are Easy. Later on.
She wasn't she?
For like 4 seconds. I think they said like she's been in this many movies. The combined screen time is like 80 seconds.
Oh my God.
And later on was in the music video for We Are All Made of Stars with Moby.
Yeah, I remember that.
She even wrote her own screenplay called The Bra That Ate L.A., which I'd chase her down to tell her I like that. That is yet to be made, but her billboards have been in way more movies than she has, clocking in at over 35 movies with just her billboards in it.
That's funny.
Her real money comes from hawking her own merchandise, though, and selling the experience of being with Angelyne, like I said. People swarm her wherever she goes for pictures, which is why she'll charge you $25 for one of you with her in her famous flamingo pose, which is her legs up, very short skirt.
How much did you charge for that?
Kind of makes me 63. $25 for a picture. But here's the 25 one. She does the pose, but she has a fan that's actually just styrofoam shaped like a fan and painted pink. She has it over most of her face. So that's $25. If you want a full-faced Angelyne, that's going to cost you $350 for a picture. Plus, she gets final approval on all photos, and you have to delete the ones she doesn't like.
Oh.
I mean,
she's making money from this.
Yeah, she's making money, but also that's like mom behavior. But
you're right.
But keep in mind, she's like a 70-year-old woman at this point.
She's allowed to act like a mom.
Yeah. After that, she'll most likely lead you to her car, where she'll pop the trunk open to show you all the bodies. She'll reveal a cachet of Angelyne hats, shirts, necklaces, posters, postcards, autographed bras, and underwear. Most all of it is pink, and you're going to have to buy something from her.
Man.
She also has a fan club that she claims has a few tens of thousands of members that are charged $20 a year to join. She briefly had a magazine called Hot Pink with an exclamation point for the I. And now we are talking about pink.
Also not grammatically correct, but okay, I'll let that slide.
How about just an upside down Spanish exclamation point? How can we just do that instead? I feel more comfortable. So she started that in 2005. I don't think it's still around though. She also sells her paintings she's made, which are mostly nudes of herself or her with skulls and skeletons behind them. She also is up to hire to appear at your private event, like how David Fincher hired her to come to his birthday party.
Really?
Her very likeness, she's willing to license out to you for $10,000 a use. So this is how she's making money. If you're wondering how this is how the Corvettes are made. All of this was managed through her company Angelyne Inc., which was located where the W Hotel now is in Hollywood until 1988, when it had its corporate status suspended. So she's definitely a shill, but she's not a shill like Kim Kardashian is for all sorts of different companies. Angelyne refuses to sell out to anybody, so she's just a shill for herself.
That's punk credo.
That's why she has to charge everyone for everything you want to do with her. It's a pretty crafty career she's made for herself, a career she says she gets advice for by speaking through a medium with Marilyn Monroe. Her manager is Marilyn Monroe. The pinnacle of her self-promotion came in 2003 when every single person you've ever seen in a movie or on TV ran for governor of California, Angelyne included.
Wow, I don't remember that.
I do remember that, so I must have known about her then.
Okay.
She's Gary Coleman, right?
Oh my God, he did do that, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Hey, a lot of people did.
I voted for him.
He had some pretty good ideas. Her campaign slogan was, "We've had gray, we've had brown, now it's time for some blonde and pink."
That's funny.
Would have been weird if she had become governor, right? Good thing the normal choice of Arnold Schwarzenegger won instead.
80s action star.
I know. Is it any weirder that he was the actor? She tried her hand at politics again in 2008 when mayor of Hollywood Johnny Grant died and the position was newly vacant. Her platform statement said, "It's important for me to be in this position. Me, Angelyne, because I'm so much a part of Hollywood. It just needs to be me. That's it. There's nothing else to say. Boom."
You know, she makes a very nuanced argument there.
She does speak of boom.
California does need a boom right now.
So she came in 28th out of 135 in that race. She's getting up there in years nowadays, so she's had quite a lot of plastic surgery, which she's very open about. She calls her plastic surgeon her artistic collaborator. His name's George Semmel, and he's the same guy who made Elizabeth Taylor and Zsa Zsa Gabor.
Oh, okay.
Zsa.
Zsa Zsa. You're not even a fan of Green Acres.
I just watched The Lion King. Is there a character named Zsa Zsa? Isn't like a bird?
The hyena. not. Oh yeah, no, the bird.
The bird named Zaza.
No. Zaza Gabor is not a person. Zsa Zsa Gabor is a person.
There's a lot of raffles around town to win a ride in her car with her that you could win pretty easily. Just be ready to shell out a lot of cash.
Yeah.
I almost entered one, but then I looked in the box and saw there was no one else in it, and I knew I would win, and I was too afraid.
My good friends did that.
Yeah. Or you could just email her at angelinebillboardqueen@gmail.com.
I want to give you money.
It's $40 an email. She lived in Malibu up until 2010, but now she seems to live in Thousand Oaks. But she's still pretty private about her personal life, and like I said, her backstory is kind of murky, which has led to there being a lot of rumors about her. Things like she ran a prostitution ring, or that she got all her money because a rich guy died and gave it to her as long as she used it to make billboards of herself, or that she's actually a man, or that she had an affair with some rich guy whose wife found out and paid a homeless guy to set her Corvette on fire, or also that she dated Charlie Sheen and she dated Madonna. So nobody knew the truth except Angelyne. But then this is the article you didn't want to read. In 2017, a story was printed in The Hollywood Reporter about a guy who claimed to have pieced together Angelyne's true identity through public records.
Wow.
In reality, Angelyne was born Ronia, aka Renee Tamar Goldberg, on October 2nd, 1950. Her parents, Hendrik and Brunia, were Holocaust survivors. They were in the Chmielnik ghetto and were among the 500 survivors of the 13,000 Jewish people that lived there. Her parents were married at the Foreign Wall Displaced Persons Camp in Germany, which is where Renee was born, much like my dad.
Oh, wow, really?
Not that displaced persons camp, but my dad's Angelyne.
In a roundabout way.
What I'm trying to say is, it turns out she is a man. And what a man.
She's my daddy.
Angelyne's my daddy, my brother. Yeah, her family was eventually relocated back to Poland, who was still very much in the Nazi spirit, and Jews were not welcome. So the family moved to Israel, where they joined an ultra-Orthodox community until 1959, when they got on a boat to New York and then moved west to the Fairfax Jewish community in Los Angeles.
Could move.
A tale as old as time.
Yeah.
I miss the ghetto. I miss the welcoming arms of Poland. Her dad became a mechanic, and her mom died of cancer in 1965, but her dad remarried and moved the family to Panorama City to run a liquor store in Van Nuys. Even more shocking than all of this, she was born a redhead.
Oh.
She's not blonde.
What?
Why did I buy all these Angelyne wigs?
I'm just ripping the hair off of Barbies now. You're a lie, you're a lie, you're a lie.
Renee went to Monroe High School, Marilyn Monroe, in North Hills, and while she was there, she married Michael Strauss, who is the heir to the family that invented the changeable movie theater marquee.
Oh.
So she married into a rich family, and when she graduated in 1969, the two moved to a place on Hollywood and Vine, and then they got divorced. Okay. So one day she decided to reinvent herself, so she went blonde and pink and put on a fake girly voice, and Renee died and Angelyne was born. So this story is most likely true, but Angelyne denies it because she's been trying to keep it a secret for a long time, and maybe also she wants to make a movie of it someday, so this story really is hers to break, and The Hollywood Reporter kind of took that away from her. But the question that remains is still, why did she become Angelyne? Why did you think of that? She was born out of a lot of pain and trauma, and she completely took charge of her life and became something entirely new and entirely different. It was the complete opposite of a little Jewish girl born in a German displaced persons camp to becoming Angelyne.
Angelyne.
She became the first person to be famous for being famous. She created an entire trope of a person.
She did,
And that's the epitome of Hollywood. Like she said, I've been called the saving grace of Hollywood, the muse of Los Angeles, the inspiration of glamour, which settled down Angelyne, but it's also kind of true. She's not wrong. And on top of that, she did all of this herself. She made her own career. She didn't rely on a rich guy or some other creep. She said she doesn't need men. I can get men to do anything I want. You never have to compromise yourself to get somewhere. And people...
I can get men to buy anything out of my trunk.
I could get men to buy my smelly old underwear for $4,000. You never have to compromise yourself to get somewhere, and people should always remember there are alternatives. Also, if you don't succeed at one game, go into another. And why the billboards and the pink and the cars? I can do anything. I can.
And you know what? She's right.
She's right. I can dance. I can sing. I can do the splits. But I don't just want to be associated with doing just one thing. I don't want to simply hide behind one thing. I'd prefer to be famous for my own persona, which is a lot more costly and more respected than being known for possessing a particular talent. Wow. So her agent claims that her billboards have become part of the LA skyline, along with the Chinese theater and the Hollywood sign and the palm trees. So it took all of this for me to finally put together that Angelyne sounds kind of like Angelino.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, maybe she's just like an embodiment of Los Angeles.
I'll sign off on that.
Yeah, I'll worship that.